Kroells, ranked currently number 9 in the country, was a 2-time Minnesota State champion. He's a redshirt junior this year. Overall record of 23-6, somewhat undersized compared to Conan Jennings, but most importantly, he was an All-American last year. You know, that's as a Minnesota fan, you got to have confidence in your big guy going up, plenty of experience going up against a redshirt freshman, you know, who he's having a learning experience as well. He's doing very well. He had a tough loss last weekend of Demetrius Renfro from Michigan State. Somewhat of a controversy type finishing too. A lot of stall calls were issued, and you wanted to see if that was, changed a little bit. But both these guys are going to be battling for the victory tonight.
Kroells, as you said, Johnny, giving up, I'd say probably minimum of 30 pounds to Conan Jennings. Conan quite a bit taller, big frame. Kroells looking for the double leg, doesn't get it. Kroells right down the road from the Farr brothers, Scott West wrestling program, Belle Plaine High School. He's from Belle Plaine, Minnesota. And finished 5th last year in the Big Ten. He was 8th overall, and as you said, the lone All-American returning for the Gophers.
And, Kroells is taking those shots, maybe against some other guys who'll get those takedowns, but Jennings is just very big, powerful guy. You see there, he got on Jennings' hips, but Jennings, squirms out of there, uses his hips and his size and that power he has to get out of those situations.
Use the football metaphor here. You got an offensive tackle versus an offensive guard. You got Kroells, obviously short and compact. He's got Jennings down for the near fall, or excuse me, that would be a 2-point takedown rather. Kroells the guard, Jennings the big left tackle. So you can see it. It's all about the leverage for Kroells, and he scores the first points of the match.
Absolutely. Some of these heavyweights, you wonder if they can, play football and wrestle at the same time. They definitely have the size. Just about the time commitment that wrestling takes up. That preseason, you're going to be at the university spending time with your team. And, wrestling doesn't really stop. It goes all year round. There's always competitions in the freestyle and Greco-Roman wrestling. So, once you're in college wrestling, you're basically employed. You have a job.
I think we saw that with Penn State's heavyweight Johnson. He was a walk-on, I believe, but he was on the football team and walked on to the wrestling squad. And he's been in and out of the lineup, but obviously trying to fill a need in there for Cale Sanderson out at Penn State.
Yep, Penn State's heavyweight. Neville's got hurt this year, out for this season. So, you know what? Cale figured, I'm in Pennsylvania. Why not, figure out my next best option. Found a guy, Jan Johnson, who's I believe he was a state medalist or state champ in Pennsylvania. And when you're a state champ and medalist in Pennsylvania, you got to have some type of talent. Very good wrestling state. So he found Jan Johnson, and Johnson, like you said, has been in and out of the lineup. But it just shows how much depth that they have.
Big guys rolling around. Kroells up to 1:09 in riding time after the first period. So he gets the lone takedown early and has pretty much been on the back of Jennings ever since.
At the Cliff Keen invite in the finals, Kroells lost to Ty Walls from Virginia Tech, 5-3. Ty Walls, number 2 ranked guy. Kroells has beat Matt Wessel from Lehigh, who's number 10. That's where he gets that number 9 ranking. However, he's wrestling all these ranked guys. Really recently, he's kind of been struggling a little bit. Sam Stoll, redshirt freshman from Iowa, he lost 7-3. So Kroells is going to use this Big Ten matchup to get him back on the right foot.
I should know this being a Minnesota guy. I wonder if Stoll and Kroells wrestled at the heavyweight on the second largest class, which is where Cass and Scott West both wrestle in Minnesota. I'm not sure if they're a little bit too far apart. Obviously a 2-year difference, Kroells being 2 years Stoll's senior, but Sam got the best of him last weekend, and now you see Kroells just working Jennings, not letting him get anywhere really. We watched, this has been the story of the match here the last minute or two.
And, for a Minnesota fan, you got to feel somewhat comfortable that even though there's not a lot of points being scored, Kroells is just, in charge of the position on top. He's really, he's not letting Jennings move. He's on his hips the whole time. And when you're 285 pounds and you got a guy who's 285 pounds or 230 in this case, roughly, I would say, it's tough to get up, and there's a Another stall call on the Wildcats, this time coming from Conan Jennings.
Under 30 seconds remaining in the second period. You see the exhaustion setting in on Jennings' face right now. Just nowhere to go, and he's working so hard to try to get out of the hold of Kroells, but it's not working. Kroells tries to turn him. Jennings stays it off. He's trying to roll him around his team, get him on that right leg. He can't fully flip him. And I think period is going to run out.
Now we're going into the third period. We'll see if Conan Jennings gets his opportunity to go on top. That's usually where his best position, you know, head coach Storniolo is getting excited, clapping on Jennings, knowing that, you know, Conan has a chance here. The best position's on top. So we'll see if he gets a good whistle start and gets an opportunity to turn. It's 2-0 on a scoreboard, but riding time, don't forget, is at 3 minutes and 9 seconds. So it's pretty much locked in for Kroells. And he doesn't even give Jennings a chance to work on something on top. So now Kroells is in the driver's seat for Minnesota. 3-0 on the scoreboard, 4-0 with riding time. So Northwestern would like to see Conan Jennings get an attack on his own, but you know, Kroells is right back on another attack and gets 2 before they have to send him out of bounds.
That should lock it up for the Gophers. Final score yet to be determined, with essentially a 6-0 lead with the riding time. Jennings, unless he can somehow score a pin, he's not going to win it in points with just 1 minute and 34 seconds remaining. Incidentally, Farr and Kroells both tied for the team lead in career victories with 76. Farr getting his 77th victory here minutes ago, and it looks like Kroells will do the same unless Jennings can turn the tide quickly, and he gets another takedown, does the junior for the Gophers.
And now we're just seeing Kroells in somewhat of a groove. He's getting takedown, immediately cuts Jennings of Northwestern. And at this point, he's just going to be looking to get that major decision. That's what Minnesota wants, to build on that, you know, final team score.
Under a minute to go here. Two big boys tangling. So as we said, after the intermission, how big that Jake Short victory was, and it's going to turn out to be the difference in the match. Now, obviously, Farr and Kroells could have wrestled a little bit differently, knowing they needed pins or tech falls to get the dual meet win. But either way, just a turn of events in a matter of seconds by Jake Short getting the victory.
Turn of events and Jake Short, and you know, hats off to Jake Short for wrestling throughout the whole time. And we also have to recognize Regis Durbin of Northwestern at 184 pounds, going up against Chris Farr of Minnesota and picking up that first period defensive, kind of neutral fall. I wouldn't say defensive fall because they were both on their feet. Neutral fall, and that was huge for the Wildcats. Gave them the opportunity to possibly win this.
It looks like it's going to end up being a major decision for 9th-ranked Michael Kroells. As we get down into the final seconds of this heavyweight match, and the Gophers will escape with a 22-20 victory on the road here at Welsh Ryan Arena.